just a summary of the difference. I think we understand now that LNG has been reduced in temperature, so compressed, can reduce in size, and CNG is compressed at around 200 atmospheres. That's the main difference between CNG and LNG. With CNG, the cargo is loaded as gas, it's compressed as gas, and it's released as gas. So it's much simpler in how organization of it. We saw some nice use. CNG makes sense where you have relatively small distance and smaller amounts of gas. If you have long distance and huge amounts, LNG has been proven to be the best technology for shipping of the gas. And other possibilities of gas to liquids. We'll see how the Qataris do with their big plants they're building. Of course, pipeline is preferred, but again, the problem has to do with deep water. Now, where there are applications for transportation of gas by ship, especially in short distances, where you have gas, water, and then people. And these are some areas around the world where you have these phenomena. And one of the most notable ones, of course, is the Mediterranean, where you have huge amounts of gas in North Africa and now in the Eastern Mediterranean. And the largest or one of the largest gas markets in the world in Europe. You can see the depth problem here. The Eastern Mediterranean, the sea can be 2,000 meters to 4,000 or more meters in depth. The bottom of the sea is not typically a sandy level base. It's a very difficult terrain. So large pipelines are, even if technically feasible, can be extremely expensive and unlikely. So the idea of building a pipeline from Cyprus into Greece is an idea. It was, where, as Michael said, $50 billion is a reasonable guess for the cost. I mean, we've seen estimates of $6 billion to build a pipeline from Cyprus to Greece. We think this is a fantasy. There is a pipeline from North Africa, from Libya, but you can see it's more shallow. The deepest pipeline depth is about 1,100 meters. So that's pretty much the maximum. Their pipeline in Black Sea is about that, but the depths are increasing of pipeline feasibility. CNG, we've had CNG around for decades. It's in buses and cars, and we've been shipping around. The new thing is to take CNG and build ships specially made for moving the gas. And to this point, there have been, I think, no major ships are commissioned yet. It's been discussed, as Cassini said, for decades, but the time is coming, I think, for this to hit the market. These are the main vendors, and we're going to hear in a few minutes also from Cesco with an Italian version of this. The main technologies involve either steel, so the one on the top left, the Cosell example of steel pipe that it looks like a pipeline that's been wrapped around into what they call a Cosell, or carbon reinforced plastics. Carbon reinforced plastics are more expensive, but they have a lot of advantages. They're lighter in weight and they can resist corrosion. On the receiving side, this is an LNG receiving terminal. You can look at the capital costs. This is for LNG now in Tokyo. These are massive, huge investments. CNG, because gas is being loaded and offloaded, is just a lot simpler. So here's an example on the left of a onshore. It's loading natural gas from a pipeline onto a ship, and then the delivery is either to a much simpler facility than what you see for LNG. Now, some of the changes just in the last few years, one is the pipeline depth, and even just a few years ago, 1,000 meters was thought to be a maximum reasonable for a large diameter pipeline. Now there are projects 2,000 meters, but again, not for 500-mile length, a much shorter length. The other is that LNG. There have been some changes in the last 5 years, which I'll get to at the very end. The Norwegians have built now 6 what they call micro or small LNG ships, and this is an interesting development just in the last few years. It's it could have an effect on the market. Gas liquids we talked about before, and then CNG. Some ideas of the cost. I mean.